Welcome to the Full Dive Gaming Podcast, bringing you a weekly dive of all the news, discussion, and condensed nerd talk you need for virtual reality gaming. This podcast is brought to you by Asterion Products, a top-selling company on Amazon, designing revolutionary products for VR and AR, including the Asterion Aura VR headset stand. I'm Jay Bratt, a VR YouTuber and streamer, and your host for tonight's podcast.
I'm Adam Charlton, a software developer who loves game design and VR. Tonight we have a very special guest, a VR Twitch streamer, McDorkus, and we're actually live streaming the podcast on our Twitch channel right now. Hello all dorks, as they like to be called. Mac, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. My name's Mac, but most know me as McDorkus. I'm a variety gaming streamer on Twitch and content creator on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Boom. You had that like ready. That was like everything ready to go. I'm impressed.
Yes.
Well, you out there know, if you're listening, our podcast is here to keep you up to date in the VR realm. We answer questions from our communities, followed by some of the latest, greatest VR news, and then we discuss the games we played recently. And of course, when we have a guest, we talk about some of their favorite games.
Well, if you haven't seen, sorry, what's that?
No, go for it. Yeah, so sorry.
I was just about to plug our YouTube channel a little bit. Because if you happen to go over to our YouTube channel, we're all sitting here in VR interacting as if we're all really together in one room. In this particular room, we are high above the city of Chicago, and it's an incredible view here. So check out the channel if you want to see us and our lovely virtual faces.
I was going to try and steal Mac's coffee, but I couldn't. I couldn't reach it across the table.
I keep eating it.
we told our Discord that we were going to be having Mac on the podcast tonight. We got some questions, some specifically for Mac, some just for us. So Mac, I don't know if you knew about this, but we actually just went to Texas, the podcast and myself, and we got to try a whole bunch of cool VR stuff. One of those was the Omni Treadmill. Have you seen that? The Virtuix Omni? You like stand on it and you run with your real little life legs. I can't do that with my fingers. And it's to try and simulate real running inside of VR games. So you have these slippery shoes on, your little feet slip on there as you're running around, and this thing holds your torso in place. So Brand Mallon from the Discord actually joined us there too, but he said, am I the only person who really wasn't a fan of the Omni Treadmill? So the harness dug into my gut in a really painful way and felt like I had to lean really far and move my legs a lot to get it to know I was moving. Adam, what did you think?
Well, you see, it definitely wasn't all that comfortable, but we ran into a bit of an odd experience because we were at a different VR venue just the day before, and that one was a huge open warehouse where in order to walk around, you literally just walked there. And with this new VR treadmill, like, it was really cool to see how it was done, but it definitely took some getting used to and wasn't really comfortable at the beginning. I thought that, while we were in the midst of the competition there, that I just kind of fought through the pain and pushed through it, just sort of trudged through it. But it really, I have a feeling that once you got used to it for a while, once you really had a chance to play with all the settings, it could maybe become comfortable. But it's never really going to feel like walking, in my opinion. Mac, have you had a chance to try out any of these VR treadmills?
I've never, but I was just talking about this today, actually, with my husband. We were talking about how it looks like really unnatural still. But I feel like to get to the point, we need more time to get to that point of where we see in the movie, the VR movie. What is it? Ready Player One.
Yeah, Ready Player One, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it looks a lot more smooth. Obviously, it's a movie. So it's just, you expect it to be like that, and it's not like that. But you want it to be like that. I definitely agree that it looks like it has a lot more like time to go until it's more comfortable. But yeah, I was watching Beer and Headshots. I don't know if you know Beer and Headshots. He actually posts a lot on TikTok, and I was looking at him today, and he uses it a lot. He seems to enjoy it, but it does look rather uncomfortable in the gut area. Like, he has to really push to move forward. Definitely agree.
Well, yeah, I was in kind of the same boat. I had been interested in it, but I'd seen videos and stuff, and I was always like, I want to buy one, but like, I really need to test it because it just didn't quite look right. Mm-mm. And in the one in Ready Player One they showed in the beginning, it's a belt-driven one. That's actually in prototype right now.
Wow.
So that one could be coming, but the problem they're having is it has to track you yourself. Because like if you try to step forward, it needs to know where to move the belts for you. And yeah, we're not ready. We're not there yet. But these things, I got to go with what Brand was saying here. Like, I was in that thing and it was clunky, it was awkward, and it was very surprising because I thought these things would be so cool, and I was so uncomfortable because the problem is the way it works. You have to lean the direction you want to run, and then all it's actually sensing is how fast the shoe trackers are passing each other back and forth. It's not sensing where your feet are landing or where they're rubbing it. It's only sensing this, and then it bases which direction you go off which way you're leaning.
Yeah,
But the problem,
so what ends up happening then is that you're leaning in a direction and it's eating into your gut, and you're just doing this little itty bitty shuffle back and forth to try and get the best movement possible. Like you think of, I want to go over there fast. You're thinking of these big, long, leaping strides, especially for me, I'm a big guy, or I'm taking huge strides forward, and that's not really working because like these pro VR players are just doing this itty bitty shuffle back and forth.
Interesting.
yeah,
I
and then
never knew that.
Well, yeah, we didn't know that either. Luckily, there was a VR eSports team that kind of clued us in on how it worked. But the problem is, too, that now you're leaning, and imagine you want to turn suddenly, all your body weight's already hanging forward. So you have to, like, stand back up before you're back to your center of gravity, and then try to turn with this harness strapped to your belt and turning on this rotational pillar around you. It definitely did not feel amazing. It really put me off wanting to buy one. And I definitely am like, okay, I'm going to wait a few years on
I
this.
definitely would too. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's not ready. So, Bran, I think we're with you on this one. Adam, we had a really random question, didn't we?
It was a random question, but let me tell you, it kicked off quite the discussion on our Discord channel. So K27 asks, when you put cups and glasses away in your cupboard, do you put them facing up or facing down? Obviously going to be the most important question we answer of the evening.
Yeah. Mac, why don't you kick us off?
I have a lot to say about this subject. No, I used to live with my family, and they would put them upside down. And after a while, like, you keep putting things in there, and it gets kind of dirty. And then, I don't know, you just kind of get that little, like, sticky film on the bottom under there when you have them upside down. So I have them definitely upside or right side up, and I stack them.
Right, but then don't you get that sticky film on the inside of the glass? But when you put them upside down, then it just forms around the edges, right?
I suppose.
Well, see, the cups get washed like every day. The inside of the cupboard gets washed never. So I'd rather that tiny bit of stickiness in the cup, maybe, and then it gets washed at the end. So, yeah, I keep mine right side up. I think that's weird. I think if I had like a grid or something inside there that would like let a little bit of water drip out if it needed to, or something, or some padding, something that maybe I'd put the cups face down. But K27 also mentioned, we were talking about this, because he puts them face down because he doesn't want spiders crawling around in there. And I was like, are there spiders in your cupboards?
I know. I'm like, wherever you live in the world, I don't want to be there.
All I know is it's Canada. Yeah, great question. Always something fun to just throw the most random thing ever at us. Mac, we got a question specifically for you. So Scarlet Ibis on the Discord, they saw that you were coming up on there, and they said a lot of big content creators get way less views when they do VR, like Jacksepticeye or Dan TDM. How does your audience react to VR versus non-VR?
Very, very good question. Okay, so I've actually been doing intensive research about this. I've been streaming for a couple years now, and I started with Pancake Games, specifically Apex Legends. I noticed that there's a stark difference between, like, obviously Pancake Games and VR games. When you look around in the headset, it's really jarring to the person who's watching the stream. So that's why on Pop 1, I know for sure, I've heard feedback. People tell me that there's too much going on, too much movement. My frames are kind of all over the place. I skip sometimes, but it's not too bad. But I definitely understand that the reason why is because of the fact that it's so hard to watch somebody play VR, because when you're in here, it seems like, you're in this whole big room, but on the screen, it's like, I think it's a field of view problem. I definitely have less viewership for VR games unless it's something like this where there's a fixed camera, watching everything happening, and it's not me looking around. I noticed that on PC games, it's the same as well. Like when you look around, if you have high sensitivity, if you can't control it very well on your mouse, then you kind of just jar. It's too jarring, like a roller coaster. Nobody wants to look at that.
True.
I wonder if they can make something to fix that. Like when you're streaming VR games, instead of them looking as it is from your perspective, if there's almost like a third person view where they're watching you interact with the game like from a third person perspective, that might actually be really interesting.
Yes, I agree with that, actually.
There is a lot. I've messed around a lot with mixed reality and other things. So the most common and probably the best thing, if you have either a game that has it built in or you use Live software to make it happen, they have what's called a smooth camera. So what it does is it basically backs up your vision from your camera about a foot further back, so you have a bunch more field of view, and it smooths out the motion. So if I go like this, the camera goes whoosh over to that direction, and it smooths it out really well. It's what a lot of when you watch the Beat Saber players that have, you know, million subscribers, whatever, and it seems like, man, the camera isn't doing what their head's probably doing. It's because of that. It's because of the smooth camera mods. So they have that, and then there's also, of course, mixed reality where you try and bring your body into it, which is a lot of work. For some reason, it doesn't always get the same viewership. Actually, what I've seen, a lot of channels do well using an avatar and then doing like what you're saying, Adam. It's in third person. They see an avatar. They see the avatar's hands moving like the person's. For some reason, those channels do super well with the avatar instead of the person. Maybe just because it looks like the game. It looks like it fits the game. I don't know. Maybe it's because they can imagine the YouTubers, whoever they think it is, instead of, you know, seeing the real person. I don't know. But those do super well. So there's some options, but we're definitely not there with content creator accommodation from the developers yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nope.
we need it.
There's definitely no coding for that. Well, like it's a mod for sure, but I don't think it's like some people don't have like the resources. I don't would the mods not work on lower end computers? Is that right? It's kind of like you need a better.
They are demanding. On Beat Saber, it has it built into the game, but it says when you turn it on, it's like, this is demanding. You may not be able to run this.
That's wild.
It might lag and you might not be able to play.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, VR is already adding two perspectives, and then you're throwing in a third one for your poor graphics card to melt on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've seen somebody do this on Beat Saber where they have the real screen, what they're looking at, like small, and then the big smooth screen. And I was like, hey, that's kind of interesting. You know, they have like what they're looking at, and then like a smooth camera version with them in front of it, like the mixed reality, as you were saying. Yep. And it actually seems to, it's like a VTubing. It's like, that's kind of a new, I'm seeing people are VTubing a lot, and you're correct. I have noticed that they do a lot better for some reason. Not sure.
I know. I'm exactly the same mindset, because I'm someone that, you know, lets my face be seen. And it's funny. It's almost the mystery kind of makes people more attracted to those channels, because some of them just do so well. So if you're out there and you're thinking, you want to start a channel and you don't really want to show your real face, you don't have to. Get an avatar that you're going to use consistently, the same avatar across all games, and you'll get the recognition from that, and you'll probably be ahead of all of us in no time.
Tease a face reveal, and then it might work even better. You know?
Yeah.
Or tease a face reveal for a different avatar.
Get a better one, yeah, because they're actually very expensive. I looked into it once. I did, like specifically for Pop 1, because it's so hard to watch. So I just looked into that. But
yeah, you commission the people that have made the really good ones. Yeah, they cost a ton.
Yes.
Well, we've got some news to talk about in the VR realm this week. But first, we got to tell you about our sponsor for today's news section. If you haven't heard of Asterion products, Asterian's actually the one who told us you got to find McDorkus, and you got to get her on the podcast, talk about VR with her. So we got to say thank you to them for that. And you know them thanks to their gorgeous Asterion Aura VR headset stand. They actually have a new product they just launched. It's a VR floor mat. It's called the Origin. It's currently available on Amazon. And if you want anything from Asterion right now, go on Amazon, put in the code FULLDIVE21, like the year 2021, FULLDIVE21, get 10% off any Asterion products on Amazon right now. Check it out. You have one. Do you have an Asterion stand yet, McDorkus? Or are they working on it?
I do not. I have to. Ooh, I am bugging out a little bit. I have to get back to him still about what we're doing. Unfortunately, I feel bad. I've been so busy. I've not forgotten, and I'm definitely going to get on that pretty soon.
Now you've been on the podcast.
I really can't recommend it enough. It is truly wonderful.
I hear amazing things from like every person that I know who plays VR and has a Quest. They just love it. So.
But let's jump into some of our news stories. Jay, what do you got for us first this week?
So if you know the game Job Sim, it's hard to imagine you like VR and you don't know Job Simulator. The developer, which was actually bought by Google, is going to be launching a new game on PC, VR, and Quest called Cosmonious High. Have either of you heard of this yet?
And not the game, no, but I'm a big fan of Job Simulator.
I have not.
Well, they're kind of taking a break from the whole job sim, vacation sim kind of Sims thing they were doing, and this looks like an adorable problem-solving game. You're back in high school, you're in an alien high school, and the whole school is falling apart. But luckily, you are gifted with superpowers that show up when you are under stress and you need them the most. So if the school's on fire, you might suddenly be gifted with the power of spraying water. Uh, they're promising dynamic non-player characters, NPCs, that are going to actually respond to your gestures and your touch to really make this a really interactive experience. And of course, there's going to be tons of challenges to overcome, helping the school with everything that's going on. And I'm pretty stoked about that because I feel like interacting with NPCs is not something games have nailed yet, and the job sim people know how to make something really entertaining.
I mean, it's definitely, yeah, like in VR in particular, it feels like the main way that you interact with the game is through the environment itself, pulling open doors or picking up things off the tables and everything. And this is something that a lot of role-playing games, in particular for pancake games, have done really well about interacting with people and the people in this world. And so if they're able to bring that to VR, that's going to be a really interesting addition to the VR space.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite. Actually, one of my favorite games types is RPG. I used to play this game called Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, which is a very good game. I played it like 100,000 times because you could end it. There's like a 5 different endings, and that's just insane to me. Like you could choose your dialogue, whether you want to go light or dark side. You could be in the middle. You could go full dark. It's just completely like the idea. If they brought that to VR, I would never stop playing VR. Like I would be in here all the time.
It'd be your whole world now.
Yes.
I'm with you there because I'm super excited. I watched the trailer and it looks super cute. It looks adorable. I'm a little worried because like Job Simulator was a really entertaining game. Vacation Simulator came out. People didn't quite love it as much. So I'm hoping that they're not going to rely too much on like the wow factor of VR, because like Job Simulator is one of those games that it was amazing back in the day because it did so much with VR, but we've come to expect a little more. We want to be able to move around. We want to have environments to explore, not just a desk full of fun stuff to do. So I have faith that they're going to do a good job, but I always worry with someone who had like an early hit in VR, they're going to come out with something that may not have evolved with VR over time.
Well, especially with Vacation Simulator, when it came out, it just kind of felt like more of the same that Job Simulator was. It didn't feel different at all. It just felt like it was in a different place.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and so I'm real hoping that they can re-innovate themselves and deliver something really good, because it sounds like they have high expectations for this, and man, I hope they deliver.
Yeah, I agree. Mac, have you ever played Job Simulator?
I haven't. And you know what's funny is that when I know you guys are talking about it, make me want to try it, because I remember seeing it and I was just like, Job Simulator, like not really not understanding. Like I just read it and not, didn't try it out. It wasn't one of those games I tried out, but like now I want to.
Yeah, I definitely really recommend it. It's definitely from the early days of VR, but it was one of those games that really brought a charm and a real sort of appeal to the game, where everything within eyesight is interactable, and it just brought a real nice charm to it.
Oh man, I should definitely try it. I've been more on the online games for VR. If I play a VR, it's like online games, so I definitely should look into that.
Take a little break from the online. Try it. If you want to try something just like it, but you're a Rick and Morty fan, they made the Rick and Morty VR game, and it's pretty much like Job Simulator and Rick and Morty together.
I have played that one. I actually really enjoyed it. I don't think I had enough play space
you've played them all.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. But we won't go back into that again.
Well, we're talking about VR news. There's some other stuff finally came out about a new headset. Adam, do you want to tell us what's going on?
I would love to, because we've been playing around this topic for like the last, however long we've been doing the show now, the last year. We have a little bit more information on the Apple headset coming out. Ooh. And so again, this is a lot of speculative information, but there's been some leaks on some of the hardware that Apple is using that'll be put into their headset. And that gives us some clues as to what it's going to be like. And a lot of our worst fears are confirmed. Apple's headset will probably be tied to their phone or computer or laptop. It's not going to be standalone to compete with Oculus. It's going to be tethered.
Wow.
I know, right? It's a real big shock that they're doing that. But the problem, and I'm going to try and not get too technical, and that's a struggle for me. Their processor that they're using for their headset is just awful. And that's because they're relying on a different device to do all the heavy lifting. However, one of the big things is that this is going to be incredibly high definition. They're looking at potentially 2 8K screens, one for each eye.
What?
Yeah. However, it's also, experts are speculating that this is also going to run you close to $3,000 for this headset.
Yeah. I gotta say though, man, if anyone's gonna do it, it's Apple's people. They'll pay anything if it says Apple. How much does that monitor stand?
Unfortunately, I am one of those people.
Oh,
I know, but the thing about it, right? The thing about it is that with close to $3,000, 2 8K screens, and it has to be tied to an Apple product, Apple isn't necessarily known for their gaming. So I'm wondering if they're going to be pushing this more as a business product than a gaming product.
Oh yeah, I've been wondering the same thing. I saw some of the headlines. I'm glad you went and dove into it because I only saw some of them. But like some of them were saying, "Oh, it's going to be tied to a phone," and I was like, "At $3,000, how is that even possible?" But the thing that I wonder, because some of this is still speculation, when they say tied to a phone, I mean technically the Quest 2, you have to have a phone one time to set it up. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's anything in your reading that might be what this is and people are just reading into it?
Definitely not. I mean, the processor that they're using for their headset itself is going to be outdated. It's already outdated.
And how can you have 2 8K screens on an outdated processor?
Okay. Exactly. That means that they're not relying on the internals of the headset itself to run those giant 8K screens. They have to be using the processing somewhere else and then just beam it to the headset. So it could still be wireless. They could be perfecting the wireless technology for that 3K headset so that no matter where you are in the room, you just turn on your computer, you turn on the headset, and boom, it's connected. It's working flawlessly. But you'll definitely need that other device.
Yeah, if that was the case, I would hop right on that because I love the idea of being wireless, but I don't think being connected to a computer isn't exactly like the worst thing in the world for me if it means I'm going to have better gaming, just overall better quality. It's the quality for me, like at the end of the day, so that when you say 8K, I'm like just drooling over that idea right now.
It's going to have to be. I mean, I'm so curious about so many things, and sadly, we don't have all the answers. We're talking about this, but like, how far out is this? How are there going to be other headsets that are even close to that level? We haven't seen a controller yet. Is this really just going to be a multimedia headset? So many things I want to know. I wouldn't put it past Apple to drop something that was like similar to the functionality of the Gear VR, but make people think this is all brand new. This is all clever and market it at 3,000 and have all the people buy it. 'Cause it's kind of Apple's game. Like they take something that's been out a while, they make it super user friendly, they market the crap out of it, and then they sell it like crazy.
Like it's the original.
Yeah, like it's brand new. I remember someone telling me their iPhone could wirelessly charge and how cool and new this was, no one else. And I was like, I think I've had 3 phones. I was thinking about I've had 3 phones now that can do that.
They're like, but this is added to it, and that's why it's special and unique. And you're just
right. But to their credit, when Apple comes out with something, it works. Like when Google comes out with wireless charging, you get it like 50% of the time, right? When it first came out. With Apple charging, when it comes out, you are certain that it's going to work. And maybe that's what they're doing with VR. We all know that getting into VR, it still takes a little bit of that tech savviness in order to get it set up, in order to use it. And maybe they're trying to come in with it super user-friendly. Literally anyone can pick it up and just use it, and it just works, right?
Right.
I hope so. I definitely think because there's those people in my life that I want to get into it that I'm still like, oh, even a Quest is going to be a little too much work for them to like go through drawing the boundary and setting the floor level. Like it's just not quite there enough to just give it to anyone. But $3,000 though. I mean, I don't know anyone that's going to pay that much for it is the problem. You will?
Yeah, put your hand down.
I mean, you could get a PC and a headset for that price.
I know. I honestly don't. It's just about experience it and having it and seeing how it would work in comparison. I like to try new things. It's one of my favorite things to do. Like I've had the CV1, Rift, I'm using that now. Quest 2, I've tried Index, I've tried a G2. I mean, like they all have amazing things in their own right. It's just I want to try it. I've only never tried the PSVR, like PlayStation. Never tried
Oh,
that.
you should. You should.
Yeah.
And Jay,
Oh.
I really think one of us had better get it just so we can try it out. And I know it's going to be a struggle, but I think we can break open this podcast piggy bank and I'll do that sacrifice for us, right?
You buy it and send it to me, and then I'll send it to you to keep after I play with it. Well, hey, as this develops, we'll tell you more about what's going on. There's, of course, going to be more news. We don't know when this thing's coming out. It's got to be at least a little while from now, but we'll keep you updated here. We got some games to talk about. We got a special guest who plays games all the time. But first, Adam, can you tell them about our sponsor for the game section?
I would absolutely love to. So this week's game section is also brought to you by Asterion Products. And not only their high-quality universal VR headset stands, but also their the Asterion Origin, which is an awesome floor mat so you can always stay oriented even when you're isolated in the VR space. So you can get $5 off any order, $19.99 or more, by using the code FULLDIVE21 on any Asterion purchase on Amazon.
The Full Dive code is going to be on AsterianProducts.com. Full Dive 21 is on Amazon.
Absolutely
we got too many
Thank
codes.
You for correcting me there. So if you want to save some money, definitely listen to Jay instead of me.
we got codes for days. Mac, one of your top games on your channel is Population 1. I've played some. Adam, I don't think has played too much. Would you kind of tell, for our listeners who've never played it, what it is, what it's like, and just tell us. Let us know.
All right. Well, this is one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game I've ever played on VR. And I've really played not that many, like I said, but a lot of online games that I definitely put this one up very top. So Population 1 is a virtual reality battle royale with similarities to Fortnite, but not exactly the same. Like there's a lot of stark differences. There's 3 people to a squad and 6 squads to kill, and then at the end, if you're the last squad standing, you win the game. So there's let's see here.
Yeah, so I've played a couple other battle royale games. I used to play a lot of PUBG back in the day, and I played a little bit of Fortnite. So how would you say Pop 1 differs, besides just being in VR? How does the gameplay differ from something like PUBG or Fortnite?
Oh, well, one of the biggest things is that you can grab onto anything that is around. You can grab onto the ground, anything, the wall, a branch, and you can fly. So those are and building is probably the Fortnite, the biggest Fortnite similarity. But building and climbing and flying are like the 3 things that I think are the biggest differences and unique things about the game for sure.
Wait, so can you literally climb anything in this game?
Oh, imagine you could grab onto the table. I do it a lot when I play when I play VR chat. I'll just grab the table and try to fling myself off of it.
Oh, that's cool. So you can feel like you're vaulting over a table to get at the enemy, right?
Yes, definitely. And there's a little bit of fling where you kind of can pull yourself up and lift yourself up into the air, and you kind of float there, and you can jump back down. You do take fall damage, which is kind of sad.
But you can fly. I think I remember seeing it, videos of it early in the day. You got this wingsuit, right?
Yeah, it's like a little jetpack sort of wingsuit.
That's cool.
It propels you forward when you go forward. So
to activate it, all you do is you put your arms straight out to the side.
Oh, so you can only put one.
Yeah, if you're running and you fall off something, you put your arms out, and then you can glide a lot faster than you can run. Then the grabbing mechanic is also super smart because, imagine you're by a rock, you grab the rock, and you can pull yourself behind cover, and then you can pull yourself out and shoot and use it like that. Yeah, it's the smartest way to make cover. There's a couple games besides Pop 1 that have done it, and I think it's the best way to have cover work. Because crouching with a button where you suddenly drop all the way and suddenly, I can adjust it as much as I want when I'm holding on to something in a game and just get my gun and just barely tip my eyes out instead of a full-on crouch or stand where half my body's out. Mac, there's been some new game modes. So you said, there's the 6 modes with the 3 teams. Isn't there now like it splits it up into 2 separate teams, and each team tries to kill the other team too.
Right. So that was they had War, which was just like that. It was like 2 teams of, I think it was 2 and then nine people on each team. And they have a new one for the Kingdom Age. It's not season 3. It's called the Kingdom Age. I thought it was Kingdom 3. But it's called Legions, and it's basically 6v6v6v6, or sometimes it's just 6v6v6. Right. It's intense. I haven't had that much fun playing an LTM in a long time. Easy to, not always easy. I can't say it like that, because the first few games were really easy because nobody knew what they were doing. But but yeah, it's basically just a 6v6v6, and you run around and have 6 people on your team, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and there's melee weapons now too. This is not just shooting.
Yeah, they just added an Excalibur, which helps you run, I think it's 45% faster if you have it in your hand. It doesn't make you fly faster, though. And it ignores your shield. When you use it, it ignores the enemy's shield, and it goes right for the health. So it goes 35 to 75 damage. So if you get somebody in, a swift 1-2, they're done. They're dead. They're gone.
Yeah, I've played a little. It's pretty fun. I'm not great at it is the problem, so I feel like I kind of missed the boat. Do you play with people from your stream? Do you play with randoms? How do you do that?
I usually play with people that I know, but I'm trying to set up the schedule to where I play with viewers. Mm-hmm. But definitely I try to have a squad before I go in, because a lot of the times it's not too easy to play with random people. There's not really a matchmaking system, so I'll get in with brand new players or people that have touched the game once back in when it started and they just picked it up again. So it's not a problem for me to have to explain to people. But sometimes, every game you have to explain to people exactly what's going on, and it's a lot. There's a lot going on in the game. There's a very high skill gap. They put me on a team with new players all the time. So.
Mm-hmm. And unlike most Battle Royale games, this game's $30, right?
Yes.
Do you think that's worth not only the price tag, but what do you think that does to the player base?
I've thought about this. I think that the fact that the game is improving and that the devs really do care about their player base and improving and fixing bugs, I don't think that this game costing money doesn't really matter too much. I did notice that after they added the game to Steam, that the player base went down, like the daily logins went down. So I don't know if that's anywhere near if that coincides with each other, or if that if anything to do with each other. But yeah, I don't think that the fact that it's $30 turns people off. I think it's one of the best games, and there's a lot of people who will vouch for it. It takes time to get used to how to play, but there's a lot of there's like a bot battle and a tutorial, and there's lots of different things that you can try before you just jump in. And I definitely recommend new players do that, because the bot battle is it's like zombies, so it gets harder as you go on and shoot. So
I'm one of those guys that hasn't quite taken the plunge into jumping into Pop 1. I've played a bunch of other shooters like Pavlov and Onward and whatnot. How much of a learning curve is it going to be for me to jump into Pop 1?
So I watched somebody who is a Pop 1 main try, I think it was Pavlov, and completely different. Just nothing is the same. Like, she was like trying to grab onto things, and it wasn't working. So it's a lot of muscle memory, I think. It's mainly muscle memory, but once you get out of the mindset of like, I can't grab onto this, then you'll be probably fine. That you can grab onto this, then you'll probably be okay. Like, then you'll play other games and you won't really you'll be like, oh no.
The tricky thing I found, because I came from some other shooters, is there's the flying mechanic, which you use it to like get in and find your spot to hold up. But then the good people will be flying around you and shooting you all at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And that is when I was totally at a loss to fight them off, because it was like, how am I supposed to handle this thing that is all around me? I can't take cover in any direction and can continually somehow shoot me while flying. So that was definitely probably the hardest thing for me in it. Mac, are you someone that plays enough? Can you do that?
Yeah, I actually noticed that shooting like okay, I've had a problem using certain weapons like the recoil. I think it's a thing that's it's a glitch. It's a bug in the game. The recoil isn't supposed to be so intense for certain weapons, but I do notice that when I'm flying and shooting at the same time that there's very little recoil. So that's a little trick. There's little tricks in the game. You gotta if you play a lot, you'll know how like you'll realize that there's a certain way to shoot this weapon to make the recoil disappear, and it's supposed to be that way. It's just a bug in the game that the devs haven't fixed yet. So yeah, definitely I definitely do that.
Well, kind of the last question. No, it's okay. Kind of the last question that I'm curious because you play quite a bit. What are the chances when you go in that you're going to get a victory? How often does it happen for you?
Oh wow. Depending on the squad, if we so I have I think it's like a 6 out of 10 chance that I'm gonna win. Yeah.
That is a lot higher than I was expecting. Wow.
I
Because there's 7 different squads every single time in a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean those are pretty good odds for you.
Yeah, it depends. It's like I think that it's getting a little less populated. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of games bugged out to where there's only 4 squads and 1 or 2 people on the squad each, and that's been weird. But when there is a full lobby and you have a good squad that communicates well and has game sense and understands like them just how to play, I guess. I feel like we win every every game. It just depends on the night. Yeah, I've had excuse me. I've had evenings where I've won every game the whole time, and it's like it's not boring, but it's just like, am I gonna lose?
I feel like for me, it's like most battle royale games. Being like the last 3 teams is pretty easy, but taking the victory is pretty hard because you know that other team you go up against it when you're the last 2 teams, you know they're going to be really good.
I think we have very different goals. My goal is simply to be not last.
My goal is to just like my goal is just to have fun and kill some kids, not out of context, please. Kill some people, get some dubs. I mean, is like the ultimate goal is to win, but also first things first, you got to have fun because it's really easy to get so involved and serious, and people are really good, and sometimes you feel at a loss. So you just have to have fun and go into it. And if you get a kill, that's honestly, if I go out with at least 1, then I'm good.
Well, population 1, $30. If you get on there, who knows? You might run into Mac in the game. I've played it. If you love battle royale games, it's absolutely worth checking out. But along the same vein of games where you can grab everything around you, Mac, you've played some Echo Arena before.
Yes, I have.
Tell us about it for people who don't know. I think we've all at least played a little here, but for people out there who've never heard of it, I think it's an Oculus exclusive. So not everyone's going to know what this is. Let them know, what is Echo Arena.
All right, so it's a team-based game, sort of like Pop 1, where 4 players on a team float in 0 gravity as a robot, competing to make goals with a frisbee-like disc. So it's very it's nausea-inducing. It can be if you're not very used to VR. I mean, it was the first game that I played.
Oh wow!
So I mean, I got used to it immediately. I mean, I definitely had it was like a day where I was very nauseated. And I had to sit down.
That's quite the game to start out with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think back and think, like, I can't believe I started with that one. But it's fun. It's definitely one of the games that it's been around so long. So again, the skill gap is just crazy. But then there's people who are just joining every day. So, but it's really fun. You grab onto there's like obstacles in the arena that you can grab on, and usually people like to call it re-grabbing or boosting, where they start off and they can zoom across the other side of the map in like 1 second flat. Wow. It makes me laugh every time I see it. Venom, shout out to Venom. He's very fast. But yeah, it's one of my favorite like channels on Twitch to watch, VRML leagues. Yeah. for Echo.
Yeah, that's one of their big games is Echo. I know a couple YouTubers who play in the VR Master League playing Echo. Echo is free, unlike Pop One, and so but you have to have Oculus. So if you have Oculus, though, that's one nice thing is because it's always cycling players in because it's free. Anyone who gets an Oculus headset at some point is going to get an Echo Arena. And the weird thing, you can not only grab the entire environment, you can grab the other players. Opposing team and your own team. So like you might see the disc is just ahead. You grab your players back and throw yourself off them because their speed then adds it to your speed to go grab it quick. Or there's someone on the other team coming at you. You grab them and you punch them in the face, and that stuns them. It stuns them really quick to where they can't do anything for a moment if you hit them. It's a cool game, but man, it is intense. Adam, have you touched it? I thought you played a little.
I played it very briefly, but not enough to actually like learn any of the good strategies, and mostly I just kind of floated helplessly there. But the very first impressions I got, if you've ever read that book Ender's Game, there's a lot of like these obstacles. You're floating in space. You're trying to get to the opponent's goal. It felt a lot like a cross between that and soccer, and I thought it was a blast.
Yeah, it's intense, and be aware if you get it out there and you when you start playing, it's going to have you on kind of a beginner mode where like your head is always going to stay upright no matter what you do. You can change that in the settings. I do not recommend it, and because all of a sudden your whole body will be like listing to the sides, and you can completely flip over and stuff. And that is only for advanced players, in my opinion. I could not do that when I could never go the right direction. Yep.
Yeah.
Or flight sim enthusiasts.
I know a lot of players who played upside down by default, and I don't understand.
Maybe it gives them an advantage. I have no idea.
Oh, totally it does. I just don't get how do you do that?
Well, both of these games, you even touched on it with the VR Master League. These are both potential eSports games in VR, which we still have not seen a huge prevalence of. As someone who plays a lot of competitive games, Mac, what do you think about the future of Pop One, this, other games, and VR eSports?
So that's a great question. I talked to one of my friends who plays on a VRML team. I don't know how much information I could share about this, so I'm just going to try to keep it as like light as possible. But there's a lot coming for esports for VRML and all that. There's definitely big things coming for the world of esports and VR. I'm very excited about it. I was stoked to hear the news that I can't share. But I think the population has a little bit of has a little ways to go. It's still new. There's still a lot of things that the devs need to fix. Because as far as I know, whenever Echo releases anything new, it doesn't quite mess up the game at all. There's nothing that breaks. But, I play Apex a lot, or I've played it, and I understand that when there's another like MMORPGs, whenever there's an update, they have to patch, the bugs and the glitches. So it's just all about that. There's just a lot of glitches and bugs that I think they need to smooth out and refine before we go all into that. And the community is still growing, and I definitely think that the community could use a lot of like positive reinforcement and influence, and people who talk up the game, and because it's got potential for sure to be VRML. I think it does.
Yeah, it definitely could step in, as you know. It's not Fortnite, but it could step in as the Fortnite for all of VR, especially if at some point they're like, okay, it's ready, and they launch it for a lower price or even free. I mean, it would be just booming with tons of people.
I hope they do that, yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. It would kind of suck for those of us who paid for it, but maybe they'll give us like $30 of credit towards cosmetics or something. Well, for those of you out there who got the little tease about VRML and you're like, dang it, I want to hear something. We'll actually tell you a little bit, Mac, about something we're working on right now. Part of our trip to Texas, we went and met with a kind of a VR gym gaming arena there. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make VR esports that also brings in real life athleticism to it. So these are going to be competitions that happen on site. You can't do these online, but where people are playing on virtual reality treadmills and VR flying machines and AR boxing machines. And these VR teams are competing for, these huge pools of money that come from the creators of these actual fitness equipment. And Adam and I played in a tournament. How'd we do, Adam?
We did all right. We got our butts handed to us in a couple of competitions, but we were able to pull through, and we took first place.
Wow, that you said you did all right. You took first place.
Well, I mean, a lot of it was due to Jay over here. He was a killer on the boxing machines.
We
But
both pulled it together. It worked out because they basically took the better of the two scores. So some areas where I did well, or some areas Adam did well, they took the best score. So it was really fun.
yeah, but it
Awesome.
was really interesting, and it's an interesting take on the whole VR esports, right? Because normal esports, you play at Pancake, and there's a lot of skill that goes into it, and it's a lot of dexterity. You need to keep yourself in shape in order to get that great hand-eye coordination and everything, right? But with some of this more VR gym type competitions, it takes a lot of athleticism. And at the end of some of these events, boy, I was sweating hard. Like, it took a lot out of you, where people who are really physically in shape had a pretty decent advantage for some of these events. And it was a really interesting take on the whole VR I don't even know if you can call it esports at that, right? Because it's sort of
Yeah.
crossing that bridge into actual sports.
That's the thing. Is it esports or is it actual sports? Because it's so physical. You got to do like real life things, but in not real life.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, and it definitely changes it though, because like I said, especially with lockdowns and stuff, you have to go be at the place to do this, or you at least have to have a facility near you where you can go do it. So it's a further out than what VRML is trying to do, because I mean they can do it. Everyone can be at home and compete in the VRML, so they're definitely ahead in that way. But I think there's a cool future along with both of these that we're going to hopefully see pan out over the next several years, and VR esports tournaments might get even bigger because you're going to see, real athletics and real work put in. That's completely different than what esports is doing. So I'm super excited, and hopefully that teaser for all you out there is something to help get you excited. What does this
Oh
mean?
yeah. Right.
Mac, as a competitive player, what do you think? Would you want to get in on one of these kind of tournaments and fight it out?
Are you kidding? Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, I would be there so fast. Definitely. I would be like Olympic training for that.
Well, I guess we got to put you on the list for the next one. We'll let you know.
For sure, yes.
I think that we keep bringing it up because you do both. You're a variety. You talk about Pancake, which for those of you out there who don't know, if you don't know what that is, that's flat gaming. That's any two-dimensional on a screen game versus VR. What is the power and the draw of VR over flat game for you? Because it's something you're very passionate about, and you've even said, as a content creator, it's not helping you as much as when you play flat games. So why are you still going for VR so much?
Such a great question. There is something I love just inherently about video games. I started at a young age with MMORPGs, playing with my dad, and I think that's what gave me the influence and why I'm so excited about it. He's the one who got me into VR, literally in here. I started off with Beat Saber, Robo Recall, and I think it was Rec Room, because those were the games that came with what you bought, or with the headset. So I just kind of started off with the free ones. And it's the draw of feeling like you're somewhere else. Like if you don't really love your environment at that moment in time, like you could just slap this on your face and not be there anymore, like for a little while, and then you take it off. You're like, oh, I'm done with this. And you're like, okay, real life is not so bad.
Yeah, it's great. I just tell my kid who's 2 years old, just like, kid, fend for yourself. I'm going somewhere else.
I'll be back in a little while. I'm here, but I'm not.
It's absolutely true, the power of it. I mean, we're sitting here, we're across the country from each other right now, yet it feels like we're sitting in this building with this amazing view and really talking to each other. It's such a huge draw. I can't imagine anyone out there. I mean, maybe some of your audience, Mac, has never tried VR, and they're still wondering about it. It is so worth it. The price is getting so much lower, so I would definitely say now is the time to get in. Was there anything else about VR, Mac, you wanted to make sure and share before we close down?
That was one of the main ones as well. I literally have gotten. I don't like to brag too much or say that I'm the reason why my friends have gotten VR, but I've gotten a lot of people in here, and it's amazing not being. I live like you said, halfway across the country we are from each other, and we're sitting in a room talking to each other. That's awesome to me, and that's haven't seen my friends in years, so it's awesome to be able to come together and feel like we're right next to each other when we're not. So that's definitely a big one for sure.
Yeah, it has a power that other gaming mediums do not.
Yes.
If you want to try and connect with us further and spend some more time talking to us, we have a Discord server. Come on in and join. I know there's a lot of you out there listening that haven't done it yet. You've thought about it and you haven't joined. Come in here and ask us questions for our Q&A section. You can provide suggestions of what we play, what we're going to talk about on the podcast, what we do. You're going to chat about all things VR with us. Mac is now in there. Mac, if people are looking for you, they want to hear more about you, where do they find you?
Oh, I'm also on Discord. I can drop my Discord in my chat right now.
Boom.
I need to make sure I spell it right. I'm on Instagram. I have been on Discord probably more, so I definitely respond faster on Discord now since I'm on PC. But Instagram, thank you.
And for all of those listening and watching, we will have all of the information for all of Mac's incredible content in the show notes.
Yep.
Awesome.
Her Twitch is your main home, right? And that's McDorkus TTV.
Yes.
Main home, streaming, checking it out there. We'll make sure we'll have everything in the description for you to come find Mac and hang out. If you're here right now in her live stream, we're going to hang out a little bit after the podcast. So stick around for that. If you want to ask us some questions, we'll be able to respond more. If you want to support this podcast directly, find us on Patreon. It's $5 a month. It goes towards the production costs, the hosting sites, and all of that. And if you're listening, you got to come over to YouTube because you can see our virtual faces. You can see this room we're talking about sitting here, and you can see what McDorkus just said on the table. I'm not going to say it and spoil it, but what's floating around in this room, it's kind of a meme over on her channel. And of course, if you're only watching the YouTube, but you can take us on the go. We're on every podcast platform there is. We're going to stick around here for a little bit, but to all of our listeners right now, I want to say thank you so much for being here with us. And Adam, what do they got to do?
Well, when it comes to VR, you always have to dive on in.
Dive on in.